Implement these 2 steps into your hiring process and drastically reduce your employee turnover. Isn't it the worst when you think you got the perfect candidate? You spend all that time bringing them in, onboarding them, and then a couple weeks later, send you that text message, hey, this isn't working out for me, and then they bounce. Happens to a lot of business owners. There are simple reasons why it's occurring. This is a phenomenon that is easily preventable. And I'm going to share with you the 2 things that we added to our hiring process. We recommend to each of our clients that have the same kind of issue. That's turned things around for us and allowed us to easily and more quickly hire the winners right out of the gate. Now, nobody bats 1,000. Okay, let's get that fantasy out of the way. But there are ways that you can see that somebody is going to be a problem or not going to be a fit before you start putting them on your payroll. So we're going to break down these 2 mechanisms, things that you should add to your process if you've got this issue of people coming in and leaving a little quickly. First, we got to figure out why it's happening, understand what's going on here, and then we need to engineer and fix the process so that you can reveal the issues ahead of time. So why is this happening? Why do you hire somebody who interviews really well, they speak well, they show up in a dynamic way, and then you put them on the payroll and they perform poorly? Why is it that, somebody might perform well, but they don't match the culture? How are you going to figure that out through an interview? Maybe you hire somebody that's knowledgeable, but they have low follow through. This happens frequently, and it's because people are mismatched in either their skills or their inclination to the job that you're offering them. So, people get jobs so that they can pay for their lives. And it doesn't mean that just because they found your job posting that they're super interested or the best match for what you're offering. In fact, some people start entire careers doing things that they hate, and then they wonder why they bounce from place to place. We're going to look at this here, right? Skills and inclination. So the first mechanism I would introduce to your hiring process is a paid skills test. So after you've done your whole interview process, before you hire them, you put them to the test. So in the trades, this can look like having somebody shadow one of your lead technicians in the field. Okay, they may not be allowed to perform the work, okay, but they could show up on site and they could walk through with your lead technician, the diagnosis and what they would do if they were the one that was on site. In the professional services, you might give a paid skill test based off of some sort of a fake story, right? Some circumstance that you're going to have them create the solution for based off of your industry. When it comes to what we do at Digital Harvest, it's pretty easy for us to create a paid skills test for somebody that is going to be doing graphic design for us, or video editing, or doing search engine optimization work, all the different things that we do here. What we always put together for them is we make it known that the skills test is just a couple hours long, 2 to 3 hours at most, and that we're going to pay them the fair market wage for them to complete that. So we let them know that, we set up the skills test, they go through it, and then it's easy for us to evaluate how they performed, and we pay them for their time. They don't feel like they're getting gypped in the process or having to go this extra mile for a job that they don't know is going to work out. See it from their side. So the skills test has saved us frequently and allowed us to be able to compare, the last few candidates versus each other and see how they perform. That's not the only test that we put in place, because just because somebody has the skills or the knowledge to do something doesn't mean that they can do it over and over, and it doesn't mean that they're going to play well with others or have the energy to be the right fit for the job. So I'm going to unpack that here. This second piece that we're talking about is the talent assessment. It's the second thing that I would recommend adding to your hiring process. It's a talent assessment. So while it's helpful to have things like the Myers-Briggs, which is kind of like a personality assessment, it doesn't always tell you how somebody's going to fit for a particular role that you're hiring with. So when you put somebody through a talent assessment, you can see whether this person is more of, as an example, a strategist versus an implementer. You can see if somebody is more of a fit for something like account management versus project management. You can see if somebody is a better fit for doing the work or managing the workload. Okay. Something like the Clifton Strengths Finder, which is what we use for Digital Harvest, costs us about $50 to give to our new applicant. It takes them about 30 minutes to complete it. They get something really valuable by completing the test, which is their assessment. But you get the opportunity to see in this particular assessment, there's others. There's the Colby assessment, I know is one that's recommended frequently. You can see their top 34 strengths ranked in order. If you compared my Strengths Finder to my wife's Strengths Finder, I'm the sales and marketing side of our business. She is the operations and finance side of the business. What you would see would be hysterical because mine is almost completely opposite of hers. I have great ideas, great communication skills, and enthusiasm. Like that's going to show through marketing and sales. But my follow through is fairly low. You flip it on the reverse for her, you can see that she's very task oriented, super organized and detailed, and her follow through is really high. But if I asked her to put together a marketing campaign, even though she knows everything that goes into one, she's not the person that would come up with one. That's what I would do. And the Clifton Strengths Finder would reveal that very easily if you were sitting in front of us making a decision between hiring me or hiring her for a position. In my opinion, it is well worth, after you spend all this time getting a couple of candidates, it's well worth the money to spend $50, $100, $250 on a skills test and this talent assessment to figure out and make sure that they're the one. Because you can't always tell based off of somebody's interview how they're going to show up when you start putting them on the payroll. During the interview process, people are putting their best foot forward and they're trying to cover up their crazy. So when you spot just something really small, you know that below that, there's something massive. And you're not going to know exactly what that is until you hire them. By implementing these two steps, the paid skills test and the talent assessment, you can uncover far more of these issues and spot them ahead of time before you start paying them. This will alleviate the number of people that you have that you hire that leave quickly. Now, this doesn't encompass everything that's important for the hiring process. Your onboarding has to be good. They have to feel welcomed and supported on the other side of you hiring them. And then there's the whole, the set of questions that you actually ask during your interview to figure out certain things that are important to you before you hire them. Those are other elements, but we're assuming that you got those dialed in and that you can solve this particular issue of not quite knowing if they're right fit by doing these two things. All right. So if you want more information about the Clifton Strengths Finder, as an example, you can follow the link below this video and go check that out on our website. We also expand upon the topics that I shared with you here in this video on our blog at digitalharvest.io. So I encourage you to go over there, read the full blog, and check out the other resources and things that we link to there. Our website is a wealth of information for businesses in the trades and construction industries who are looking to take their business to the next level. And it's not just about the marketing. It's about the whole system and how it works together, including hiring and getting the right people. All right. So with that said, appreciate you for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you like this video, you'll probably like the rest of them on our YouTube channel. Go ahead, check them out, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.